Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Happy Saturday, or whatever day of the week it is you're listening to this. We have another story today from the book called Assholes. This one is called Domitian. Domitian became Roman Emperor in 81 AD. It's difficult to stand out as an asshole only 48 years after another emperor executed Jesus, but Domitian gave it a try. On official state matters, he wasn't too bad, having finished the Colosseum, strengthened the economy, and crucially, killed 0 Jesuses. However, the man had a cruel streak that was evident from day one. How evident, you ask? At the beginning of his reign, he used to spend hours in seclusion every day. Suetonius, the Roman historian and contemporary to Domitian, wrote, doing nothing but catch flies and stab them with a keenly sharpened stylus. Okay, I'm not going to mourn a 2,000-year-old fly, even if it did get brutally murdered by an emperor, but his sadism got worse from there. Like seemingly every other emperor who had ever held power, Domitian began to get paranoid that there were conspirators around him. In an attempt to get the names of these so-called conspirators out of his enemies, he allowed for a new type of interrogation, inserting fire into their genitals. If there's one thing that gets you blurting out names of co-conspirators, real or not, it's a bonfire on the inside of your penis. He also took an odd pleasure in treating people he was, unbeknown to them, about to crucify. He would go as far as inviting them round for a chat and a dinner, very much giving them that not about to be executed vibe you get from dinner with a friend. But then, unlike a friend, he would spoil things by executing the shit out of you. Competing for space and quite a fucked up personality chart was his hubris. Domitian liked to see his face everywhere, which was a pain given that the modern mirror wasn't invented until 1835. Instead, he had so many gold and silver statues erected around Rome in his image that someone graffitied on one of them in Greek, "It is enough." This was nothing next to his insistence that people will call him our master and our god, and his decision to rename 2 months, September and October, after himself, becoming Germanicus, his assumed surname, and Domitianus. Oh, for goodness sake. As tough as it was to live under Johnson, imagine getting to August and having to arrange to meet the people the following month on the 30th of Boris. Domitian entertained senators and knights, according to contemporary historian Cassius Dio. In another instance of what can only be described as dinner shenanigans, Domitian first made sure that the entire party area was pitch black before making guests come in without their usual entourage, or servants and slaves as they're more accurately known today. The guests, once they found their way to the table, were given a slab shaped like a gravestone. In case that was too subtle, the guest names were inscribed on their personal tombstone. Again, this would be fine if you were A, not presented with this by a man known for executing people on a whim, and B, living in time after the invention of Halloween. The guests, unable to tick off either of these two from their mental checklists, were then treated to a dance by boys who were naked but painted entirely in black. The idea was that they would appear like phantoms, but, to be honest, once you've realised that your host has hired and painted naked boys to dance at you, you're probably terrified enough as it is, and any guesses are like, oh, are they supposed to be ghosts or just window dressing at that point? The only thing that broke the silence, in which the guests probably believed they could have their throats cut at any second, was Domitian talking only upon topics relating to death and slaughter. He kept this up all evening, before sending them home by carriage, where they awaited death in the comfort of their own homes. He had given his guests lavish gifts, presented to them by the naked dancers from earlier, who had been washed and adorned. Among these gifts were the gravestones, which turned out to be made of silver. This, an evening of mortal peril, followed by a thank you gift, was Domitian attempting to be fucking nice. Eventually, in 96 AD, Domitian was killed by a lower-class member of the imperial court. His undoing wasn't by one of the people he'd been trying to locate via putting fire up people's pee-pee holes. He was killed by someone who feared for their own safety, and, let's face it, probably the safety of their pee-pee hole as well, following the recent execution of Domitian's former secretary and ally. Whether he could have found out about the potential plotter by setting fire to more pee-pee holes, or whether the assassin wouldn't have felt so unsafe, Had Domitian burned a few less pee-pee holes, we will never know. All we can say for certain is that Domitian didn't burn the exact right amount of pee-pee holes. The end. Don't forget to like and subscribe and press the wee bell notification. And a huge big thank you to all my subscribers, patrons and members. See you next week. Bye bye.